Hey, what's up, YouTube? Got a 2000 Turf Tiger with a 23 horse Kohler, just an air-cooled command engine. And this one, the oil seal around the back, the main seal, where the PTO drive is, it's leaking oil. So what happens, these have a tendency on these particular models to work their way out. So this one's 22, 23 years old. So today I'm going to show you how to replace that, and it's a non-conventional oil seal change. Because it does have a tendency to work out, I'm going to use a little high temperature Permatex gasket material on the outside, that piece of the seal that stays stationary, just to kind of give it a little reinforcement. Maybe it won't likely to work out like these engines typically want to do. And then the internal seal that comes pre-greased, I'll show you all that, but we'll walk through and I'll show you how to take care of that today. Back on this 2000 Turf Tiger, it's got the Kohler Command 23 horse engine on it, and I just replaced throttle cables. I'm getting ready to put a battery cable on it, but it's a good condition. What we got, you can see the hours on there, still pretty low hours, 922 for something that old, and these things will run a good bit more than that, maybe double that or more. So it's been well maintained, but it has a leak under here somewhere. You can see if I don't get that oil thing under there, it's dripped oil. So my guess is the rear main seal is leaking back in behind this clutch plate, the pulleys, and then the seal that goes in the engine. So hard to see, but with all this residue, and I turned all the lights out, got a flashlight, I did see a little glimpse of a drip back in here, it looked like on that seal. So that's my guess. And amazingly, after it drips, I cleaned up a puddle and there was still nothing very wet to find. So yeah, I'm thinking it's here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, get this clutch off here, try to get that pulley off, whatever I need to do to get to it, and we'll take a look. A quick update, we got this arm off. So that's it right there. I just keep everything bolted the way it goes back together. And then we took out this bolt here, so here's the keyway, and then this is attached to a pulley. I had to unhook the electrical connection. You can see here it's just one of those press and pull to disconnect. So to get this off, I need to pull this spring relax tension and get this belt off, and then see if I can get it to move out. All right, we got it off. So there's the clutch, pulled off, and it does have a little key stock, goes and slides in this keyway. So that clutch has been replaced. It wasn't too bad to get off. This is going to be the next bear to get off of here is this pulley. So we're going to take this tensioner loose, get that belt off, and then try to remove this carefully. And I can see the seal now. Gotta get focused here. You can see this black piece back in here, clear in the back. That is where the seal goes in. And right on the very bottom is where it looks wet. Hang on a second. Let's grab a light. Okay. So, trying to see the bottom of that seal. There we go. See where it's wet? On the bottom of that seal there, and there's a drip right there of oil. So I'm pretty confident that seal has just worked its way out. So we'll replace it with a new one and see what the recommendations are, if there's anything we can put on it to kind of maybe help keep it seated in there. I'll have to read up on it. So let's get back to trying to get this belt and pulley off. Hey, I lost some audio, but what I did to get that belt off, I just took a 1/2-inch ratchet with an extension and put in the tensioner pulley up there in the top left corner. Cranked it up to release tension off that belt, and then worked it off the 3 pulleys, 2 hydraulic pumps, and the PTO pulley. All right, guys, back out here. At the farm, we had these pullers. I don't have any now, so I ordered a set off Amazon, and I just went ahead and got the 4 set. So they come out to like 10 bucks a piece. You get it delivered, 40 bucks, and I'll have them. This is a 6-inch puller. It seems like it's the best size for this one. And of course, I did want to go inside here and pull this off, but it wouldn't allow me with these teeth. You could take it apart and turn it, but then it would bind up on the third one. And anything smaller wouldn't work. So here's the set I got. They just come and put it together. You just put them together. So there's an 8-inch set, and this one's a 4. Got a little baby, cute little one, 3-inch. And then the one in between was the 6-inch, which is on here. So I'm gonna try to pull this thing off. It is a lot colder today. And unfortunately, it's, you know, October's not over with yet, but they're calling for snow flurries tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. And my seal is due to come tomorrow. So let's see if I can get this thing off. All right, there it is. That popped off and came off a lot harder than I thought. So use the 8-inch puller. The orifice is bigger here, so I got to clean them first couple threads up. So with my tap set there real quick, no big deal, but use the bigger one, you might avoid that. So I got the keyway out. We'll clean this up, and of course here's the oil seal. It sets over that bushing and just pushes in there. So there it is. I mean, not really, don't look very damaged. I think the size spec was just a hair off on these, because I've read where a lot of them have worked their way out. So it should fit in there. The new one will come pre-lubed, and we'll just have to press it back in until everything seats in place. All right, guys, one thing I couldn't show you very well, gotta get off first. This pulley, before you take this off, just make sure you loosen this hex locking stud right there. So you just gotta loosen it up to the point to where the threads aren't penetrating through. You know, if not, you'd scuff your thing up here and it'd be extremely hard to get off. But being hidden against that wall, it is hard to see. I will clean all this up. But what that is, it's a 5/32 hex key. And as we can see here, see if I can get out here in the lighting. There it is, 5/32. Handy dandy craftsman. All right, guys, these first couple threads was messed up, buggered up due to my complacency and using a puller. It was a little too small. By too small, I meant this part actually went into the thread. You can see that there. I was a dumbass, wasn't paying attention. I should have used the bigger puller, you know, just to, because it had a bigger diameter. It wouldn't have went in there or put something on that, but I didn't. But anyway, I just took, it's a 7/16 number 20, which is a fine thread bolt here. You don't want to focus on that. It says, there's too much stuff in the background. for me to see. But anyway, there it is. There's your threads. So it's tapered to go in, you know, to get past the booger threads and catch the good ones, and then you can run it in and straighten those threads back out. So the bolt goes in fine now. And of course, it's just got the little tool. You can pick these kits up pretty cheap too. They have, of course, SAE, the standard American, and you can get metric. So we got that back. Now we'll just get the seal in place here and start putting things back together, hopefully. Before we get started, I wanted to show you the old oil seal that came out. Okay, and you can see the number AE7762E. And I looked up the model number, the CH23S, for this Kohler engine. Serial number, this number. Well, after 20-something years, the part numbers have changed. It's kind of hard to find. But I did get an aftermarket seal and tried to put it in, and this inner lip rolled on me. So I had to pause, order another one. And I read where they're easy to mess up if you don't get them started correctly. And I did not. So failure on my part, but I did order a Kohler. Let me show you that real quick. What that looks like. There's the number. Okay, see this is a replacement number, this 25032OS for the number we just looked at. So it is the same size. So we'll get this out. The inner surface here does come pre-lubed, greased. So the only thing we got to do is clean the input shaft itself. I'll show you that real quick. Okay, so right here is where this goes, right? The PTO, we've already taken all this stuff off to get to it. So you just want to make sure this is clean inside and out. If you can, use a lint-free rag, get everything cleaned up. I like to use like a carb cleaner and just clean everything up real good. And then what you want to do is just put some 1030 or whatever oil, lightly, oil this back up. Except for, in this case, we're not going to do this surface. I'm going to keep it dry because this is a surface. I'm going to put a little red Permatex. I'll show you what I got here. Oop, get it upside down. There it is. Ultra red gasket, high temperature. Of course, this gets hot. It is the engine. So hopefully, by putting that around the perimeter, this is the old seal. I'm not using this. The inset part of the seal goes in like this. So your flush side is going to be on the outside. So the key is getting it started square. Little Permatex on the outside. We don't want to get it on the inside. And we want to drive this in flush or maybe a little beyond if it wants to go. But you don't want to go too far because down in here you've got, see right down in there, you got a hole. That's your oil drain return. So you sure don't want to plug that up. You want the oil to be able to flow back down to the engine return or the pan. So that's what we're going to do. Let's try to get this seal in here. And on these seals, like I said, this, go back out here in the light, this side goes in first. And you can see the concave, there's a bevel here. So it is shaped to go on the taper and slide over. And then this outside, you can see, has more of a taper outward. Yeah, see there, that bevel, it bevels out. So you can tell it's supposed to go on this input shaft this direction. And as long as you get them two seated correctly, it should slide right up over this and go into here. Then what we'll do, I've measured this out to this bolt hole. I got a piece of PVC cut, and this will square over the seal. Okay. And then I'm going to use the bolt that goes in here to evenly push this in. That way you get even distribution all the way around each side of the seal surface, and you're not trying to tap and get it cockeyed in there. Should be able to drive it in straight. So how am I going to do that? You might ask, well, all I did was get a 2.5-inch washer here. Same diameter as that pipe. I've got the original washer that goes on the bolt, and I've just used some tape just to hold it center until I can get it started. That way this will be centered and I can drive the bolt, put this on the plastic, drive the bolt in, thread it in here, and I can just evenly seat that seal. Hopefully that'll work really good. This tape is just to center it. It don't need to hold. Once you put tension on that bolt and draw it in, of course it's not going anywhere. So just a quick tip, what hopefully will work for me. So I wanted to explain that because it's a little bit harder when you're doing to explain. So I'll set it up, go ahead and install, and then you can watch that process. All right, so I pre-cleaned it, but I just went ahead and wiped it off again. Put a little oil in there. Get this new seal opened up. Here she is. Got her clean. So it's pre-greased already. Make sure it looks tapered the correct way. Don't need much. I just want to get a little oil on that surface too. So we pretty much have it ready to slide on. Lay it on its face here. Get this little Permatext open. We got to pierce it to open it here. Just use the lid on the cap. There we do. We got penetration on there. So now we can bring this out. Like I said, we don't need much. I'm just going to put a super thin coating around the outside as a deterrent. Keep this from moving. Yeah, I got a little bit of a mess. That's okay. Now I got to try to get this thing started here. Hopefully I don't roll that seal again. Just trying to recenter this up. So it's in there a little ways now. I want to take it off, look at it before I proceed. Of course, if I screwed this one up, it's too late anyway. I'd have to dig it out and get another seal. But I did not, so this taper, it's over the back side. That looks really good. I'm going to go ahead and run it in some more. At least get it maybe flush. I said the most critical thing is just keeping all this stuff centered and making sure your PVC is the right size. I had to cut this one down. This buildup of washers was a little more than I compensated for when I cut the piece, so I just trimmed it off some more. But I do like this method of being even, consistent pressure, and getting this seal lined up. All right, so that started to get pretty tight feeling. I think I'm gonna just maybe stop right there while it's flush. Or maybe my PVC was catching that outer piece. Let me try a little bit more here. All right, let's take a look at this, see if we got any recess yet. I've seen some people recess them and other people say no, just leave them flush. So I like that better. So we got a little recess. We do have the PVC, or the PVC, the Permatex here. Little seal there, that's good. So what I'll do is take some time, try to clean this up around the seal. Try to get rid of the Permatex where I don't want Permatex. All right, there she is in place. I'm pretty happy with that. Try to get in here and let you see. You can see what that, see that bevel on that? Right around that shaft. And we got it in probably, I don't know what that is, 3/16 of an inch. A little Permatex on the outside to help hold that. Of course, I cleaned up around the shaft where it rotates, but it looks like it's got a good coating of oil on there. That should be good. It should turn inside there and give it just a little bit of extra to hold on that outside piece. So hopefully that'll do it. So let's get this thing put back together. I'll show you that process real quick. All right, so this has a little bevel to fit up against this bevel on this piece. So you want that bevel, slide in, seat right up against that, like so. And now we're ready to put our pulley on. A couple more things to clean up here. I got my keyway I need to clean. This is just a 1/4 by 1/4 by 1 inch. Little keyway here. Oh, and it's the keeper for this pulley right here. So this one, the flat side goes in first. It's recessed to line it up with these drive belts so all the belts line up. So we need to get our keyway in here. So we got our same little hex key we used earlier. We'll loosen up this keyway channel, locking hex stud, make sure it's out of the valley. Same thing with this external piece here. Make sure it's backed out. Now we should be able to slide this on. We can get our keyway over it. So there, we got it started. Now we just got to get her in place here. Give a little keyway here. Tighten down this one first. This is the locking key to the shaft here. Just turn her to the right till she seats, so it's already stopped. Now I want to get it on this long way. I can get more leverage. Seat that. And this one, same thing. Seat the one on the key. Righty-tighty, she's seated. Now I'm going to give it a snug. Make sure that key's all the way down in there. Okay, key's sticking out a little bit. That's okay. We got another key that goes on there for the outer pulley. But now we got to get that belt on. So here's our belt. This belt's still in good shape. So we're going to reuse this. It is the V belt. Using this channel, this channel. I believe that's it for this belt. There is no internal with that spring. All right, so I'm gonna get around this pump first over here. In order to do that, I got to get this spring up, which I was going to require. I should have bought my breaker bar. I did not. So I'm gonna lift this up like so, and get this belt around here, this hydraulic pulley. All right. Put this down here. It's on that. Of course, we gotta go around this. Get on the second hydraulic pump over here. Okay. So now what we gotta do is we gotta get it up and over top of here. And I may have to go get my breaker bar to get that kind of leverage on this spring. I didn't take that spring off because that one is a bear on the backside to get to. But we'll see if we can do this without pinching our finger off here first. Helps if you get the bottom in the right position. There we go. Now we got more slack. All right, try it again. Get the spring completely up and off. See if we can pop this belt on the top. And there we go. Got some tension back on it, so that belt's in place. Now we're ready for phase 2, which is getting the clutch back on the keyway. And then we can put our last belt back in place. Line that keyway up again. So that's in position. This wire goes through here. So of course that pulley is on the internal side. It goes on first to line up with this idler, your bottom deck drive. That's it. That's all this belt drives. Of course, it's a shorter belt. So once we get this in place, I don't know where that crud came from. That's bothering me. I want to make sure it's clean. Checked it once, wiped it out, but maybe picked up something off the table. And it's critical to keep everything clean. That's it. Yeah, it does look lined up good. So now we got to get our brace back in place over here where it bolts on. Wheel. All right, so this bolt over here is just 9/16, I do believe. Yep, 9/16. All right, so that's on there. It's in place. It's clearing. Okay. So now I got to figure out what I did with the little wire keeper that goes in here. It's right on my table, right in front of my face. Okay. So there's our belt. Go ahead and get this keeper on here. It just simply slides through. Okay. And you're just making a locking mechanism basically with it, where it won't come off. Let's keep that in place. Try to bend it around where it's not sticking out into this plate when it closes. Springy. Okay. Yeah, I can live with that. It's good enough. So, I'll get our bolt in here now. So this bolt, that's 9/16. I believe this was a 5/8. Yes, it is. we'll just get it snug. See, it's already turned the motor over. So I got to look up torque spec for that. The handy dandy impact here. This thing puts an extreme amount of torque on stuff, so we're going to turn it down to the lowest setting here. And number one, the old Milwaukee fuel. Okay. All right, so there's that. Now we got to get this belt on here. So we definitely got to go under this bottom for your deck drive. Horse piss. You guys, I put the cart before the horse. So don't do what I do here. Let me get this back loose. Get the belt up here. All right, so get this on this, around this clutch. And we got it on that pulley. And it's got to be fished down and around this bottom pulley. And there is a spring holder under there. You got to get it around. I'll show you after a bit. So it's on those two pulleys, okay? So now what keeps that tight to drive your deck off your PTO is this right here. And so for that, we just need to hook a spring that goes from here down to this bolt, which makes it tighten up. Here's our spring. So get it on that keeper down there. All right, there it is. So now all we got to do is bring this and get it up here. So if you want to put gloves on and muscle it, that's one way to do it. But it also has a 1/2-inch drive down in the bottom. Same way we did in this little ratchet up top, or this little hole. This one's got one. It's not a breaker bar, but yeah, that ain't happening. So I got to stretch the spring out here. Grab a pair of gloves. Have a little suspended energy. I tell you, these springs, they're stiffer than what you would think. And there we got it. She's tight, keeps that belt tight. Now we got to run this in here. Now the belt's on and it's not in the way. And it just plugs into a little receptacle here on the back for your PTO engagement. It sends the electric signal to engage that. Snap this together here. Okay, that's it. She snapped in. All right, so we got it all back together. She's assembled, the belts are on. I'll put some oil in it. And as soon as I get my battery cable, that they haven't shipped yet, I can start it up, make sure it's not going to leak. But it's good anyway, because we used a little bit of that Permatex in there around that oil seal. And you need to leave that cure for at least 24 hours. I'll probably at least double that, maybe more. But yeah, you got to get the belt on, of course, before you fasten this in. I got to tighten that bolt up. That way you can fish your belt, get it around, and then there's all kinds of little, like you got this spring tension tab, you got to make sure you're behind it, just nothing out of the way, just so it's got clearance. And you can see the diagram in your book. And you can see here's what socket was hooked into. I tried to loosen that spring by using this on that idler. And then this, which fished through, of course, all that is when you pull that yellow button, it sends a signal to engage your PTO clutch engagement. So there that is. It just snaps in there. Right there, snaps in, that's it. So that's what we were doing over there. I got to get this thing tightened up before I forget. Tight enough. Oh, that should do her. So get a little oil in it before I forget. Snap these up just for now. And then, so I get my cable come in, I'll fire it up, check for leaks. Hey guys, Zuki Play Metals here. I hope that helped. I know I had a hard time with mine trying to figure out how to do that. Not a whole lot of information, the step-by-step for that particular model. So I know it's not something that pertains to a wide array audience, but I just hope it helps somebody. It's got that particular model mower, and maybe it'll make a little more sense to you, and you can save some money and fix it yourself. If you like the content, please give me a like. Give me a subscribe. It don't cost anything if I did a good job. And leave me a comment. Let me know what I screwed up or what you'd done differently. I'm always willing to learn and get better. You guys take care. Peace out.